So then this idea of formula mass is kind of tacked on to the end of this chapter. I can kind of see how it belongs here, but then kind of not. But here it is, so we have to cover it. So formula mass. A formula mass is the mass of a formula. That makes sense, huh? So it's whatever the formula is, whether it represents a formula unit or it represents a molecule, what would be the mass of that? And here we're talking about atomic mass units. So basically the formula mass will be the number of atoms of the first element times the mass of that element. And then you add the number of atoms of the next element times the mass of the second element. And you just go and you add them up. So for an example, calculate the formula mass of dinitrogen monoxide, N2O, also called laughing gas. So we're pulling a couple of things together here. We started today's lecture by looking at formulas and identifying how many atoms of each element were present, and that's something we need to know now. So here we've got nitrogen, and we've got 2 nitrogen atoms, and we've got 1 oxygen atom, and we get that from the formula. So how much does a nitrogen atom weigh? Well, we go to the periodic table. The periodic tables we have on the walls here have a varying number of significant figures in their masses. And that's reflective of how accurately we know the masses of those elements. Other periodic tables will just round them all off to 4 significant figures. The periodic table that I'll give you for the exam rounds them to 4 significant figures, and so I'll just do that when I do examples in lecture as well. You may use the full number on whatever periodic table you're using. It's better to include too many digits than not enough. But I'm just going to pretend that I'm using the one that I give you for an exam, which is posted on Blackboard, by the way, if you want to know exactly what sort of information is on it. But we look on the periodic table, and on this table it says 14.00674. On the other periodic table it says 14.01. They've just rounded it. And that's atomic mass units, and that's the mass of 1 nitrogen atom. So if we have 2 nitrogen atoms, then it's 28.02, right? It's 2 times this. So we have 2 nitrogens, so it's 2 times the mass of a nitrogen atom. And then we're going to add 1 times the mass of an oxygen atom. And that's 16. The other reason I'm rounding them is because I have a lot of these memorized, and it's just so much easier. 15.9994, if you round that to 4 sig figs, it's 16. So then you use your calculator. 2 times 14.01 plus 1 times 16, and we get 44.02. Oh, I left the unit off there. That's atomic mass units also. Atomic mass units. So what that tells us is 1 molecule of laughing gas weighs 44.02 atomic mass units. And remember that an atomic mass unit is a crazy small amount of mass. It's on the order of 10 to the minus 30 grams. No, 10 to the minus 24 grams. Anyway, really, really small. Any questions about that? And then that's all we really say about it, and that's the end of chapter 5. So these slides are kind of like, they're a review, different chemical principles, then chemical skills, classifying, writing formulas, naming compounds, calculating formula mass.